you're not an IPOB apologist.
No, I'm not.
You don't like it.
I'm not an apologist at all.
But you believe that the Igbos need to be given a voice.
Absolutely. I understand the issues that have given rise. My dad was in Biafra. In fact, my parents met in the Biafran War. You know, both my mom and dad met in the Biafran War. So I understand our issues of marginalization, of reintegration into society. The way as an Igbo man, you're always looked at with some suspicion. Even me that has spent the last 10 years preaching one Nigeria, that people that still ask me what my agenda is.
You believe in one Nigeria?
Yeah, I do.
Some of your, when I say IPOB brothers, because yes, they are brothers, but they believe differently from what you believe. Yeah. They might see you as a sold out. I mean, this guy is a sellout.
As an Igbo person that believes in one Nigeria, you get attacked from the two sides.
Do you get that a lot?
Yeah, they say you're a sellout, an apologist for the Northerners or whatever. They also think that I must have a government appointment. That's the only way I can be preaching one Nigeria. Somebody must be paying me. And then from the other side, people are looking at you with suspicion. What's your agenda and things like that. But there's no agenda. There's just conviction and belief.
You truly believe in one Nigeria?
That for
you think that with one Nigeria, that's the only way it can work?
It's the only way it can work.
I mean, there are those who believe that maybe we are better off, regionally,
then
in those blocks.
When the British came, which ethnic group, which region was able to resist them? Which one? Which one? None.
So we couldn't stand against the opposition individually.
You can't.
So we're better off together.
We're better off together. The British never even fielded an army in Nigeria. They would just have a few officers. The people that are coming to fight you are other Nigerians from other parts of the country. That was what happened. If you keep all this, for me, it's just fantasy. No ethnic group was able to resist colonialism. None. All of them fell one by one. And that tells you that, and it's the same thing, we're facing a global system that is also self-interested. Every country is looking inwards and saying me first. There is no ethnic group that is going to be able to carry the African flag by itself. We must come together. We must find a way of coming together. Not just in Nigeria, across the continent, but we're starting here. So the idea that, my ethnic nation can stand by itself, it's just fiction.
So, I mean, if you look at it for the marginalization agitation and those who believe that unfair treatment has been melted out on the Igbo race, to balance these and to treat these, or to fix the agitation or that feeling, what do you think could be done?
I think Nigeria needs to be a fairer space. I really think that's why I also say that we missed an opportunity with Peter Obi. Not only was he competent and capable and ticked all the boxes on that level, on the other hand, he was also an Igbo guy. It was an opportunity to heal a historical wound. We can't reach for our future until we heal certain wounds from our past. So it was an opportunity Nigeria had to kill two birds with one stone, to elect a competent person, and also to heal a historical sense of grievance with Igbo people. I don't think that opportunities like that they don't come often, and it should be seized because it shows that as a country, there was once a generation of politicians who understood this. I always say that 10 years after the end of the Civil War, an Igbo man was vice president. It was intentional because people were thinking about, look, we have to have a way of bringing inclusion. It is common sense in a diverse society. People think that when you preach one Nigeria, it means you're preaching, we will not have tribe or no. We're saying that ethnicities and tribes will remain, but let's have a fair way of competing. It's just like when Man U and Man City are playing. As long as there is a competent referee on the field, it is entertainment.
Perhaps those who believe that it was right for Olufalaye and Olusegun Obasanjo to on the different political platform after the annulment of the MK Abiola election, and those who believe it's only fair to allow a politician or a president of a Yoruba extraction to emerge was the way forward. You think that Nigeria has not moved forward from the Nigerian Civil War? Is that a feeling you have?
Yes, we haven't. There are still issues from the war we need to resolve. Issues of suspicion against Igbo people. The fact that Igbo people are still sort of blamed as a collective for the coups, for the war. These are issues that still
even
need
the
to be
formation
resolved.
of the Kaduna Nzeogu team and the group, and how many Igbos were in that group, how many of them planned the coup, what really led to, all of those suspicions are still there. And unfortunately, right, there is the MLK Day in the in the United Kingdom. I mean, in the United States, to make people think about some of the values and some of what has shaped the American society, the agitation of the black person, the colored person in America. And I'm not sure. I imagine that there should be a day for a reflection about the Nigerian Civil War. It's not because we want to celebrate the Civil War. It's because we don't want the wound that almost tore us apart to go back. People died. People were starved to death. People were wiped out. People's sense of belonging and sense of livelihood were erased. And whether you belong to the other side or on this other side, whatever side you belong, I think the nation needs to sit down and we need to start thinking about how we need to recognize that fault line and how we need to fix it.
Absolutely.
Being quiet about it will not fix it. I think.
Help.
I don't know.
It just festers. That's what's happened over the years. Under the silence, the wound has just festered. So like you rightly said, that history has to be told. We have to learn it in schools.
Rightly.
Very important.
There's been a lot of different records of
I'm saying that it has to be a comprehensive telling. We have to bring together all the narratives. Because if you listen to the North, you hear a narrative from this angle. If you listen to the Igbos, you hear a narrative from this angle. We have to bring all the narratives together to form a comprehensive narrative. And we have to tell that narrative, not looking to reopen the wounds, but to heal them. I'm not trying to restart the war. But there is a way you look at me, even today in 2025 as an Igbo person, there's a way you are looking at me as a Northerner that is colored by what you've been told about what my people did 50 years ago. And we have to talk about that. You know that, because this is something I do actively. I was somewhere in Maiduguri doing a civic class, and we're talking about the war. And a young Kanuri man stood up and asked me very directly. He said, so tell me, was January 15 an Igbo coup or not? And the way he asked it, I could tell that the issue was still live. He wasn't born
as young as
he was. He asked me directly, was it an Igbo coup? Now, if we are not talking about these things, and I answered him, I said, yes, most of the planners were Igbos, but it doesn't make it an Igbo coup. The same way that you don't want to stereotype Fulanis today and just say Fulani headsmen are killing people in the bush. You know that it's not every Fulani headsman that is in the bush killing people. It's the same way that as Igbos, the fact that some Igbos planned a coup does not mean that all Igbos planned a coup and should be collectively punished. That collective punishment is always wrong and creates more wounds than the one is trying to heal. It doesn't mean that for instance, I have my views on the first coup. To me, it was one of the worst coups in the country because of the way it was organized and planned, and it had devastating consequences for the country. And the way people were killed in that coup is something that we also need to acknowledge that it wasn't right. But it also wasn't right to have a pogrom where people are killing people on the street simply because they are Igbo or they look Igbo. So there were many people that were killed that were not even Igbo, but just because they looked. In this country, pregnant women stopped, their bellies slit open, their unborn children brought out and killed because of their ethnicity. These are things that should never happen. And unless we talk about it honestly, with a willingness to accept wherever the fault lies and say, you know what, that was wrong, we can't move forward. And it needs to happen.
And there are those who think that actively whatever happened in South Africa, not because you want to put some people's backs against the shooting range, or prosecute them or what. Just like you said, to lay the issues bare and know where the fault is and know how to move forward from there. And you saw the reconciliation process. The nation has to come to a conversation.
Yeah.
You see, what happens a lot of the times is when there is that conversation that nobody wants to have, then it festers, and there is the more problem start to build. And a lot of people are keeping quiet. They don't want to talk about the coup. They don't want to talk about the war. They don't want to talk about the outcome of the war. And we cannot move progress. Do you think that the nation can sit down and have a national reconciliation conversation similar to what we had in South Africa?
Yeah, I think that will work. I also think your earlier suggestion of a day where we remember the war. So you have many little conversations going on all across the country will also work. I think also having a structured way of teaching it and introducing that in, so that from primary school, secondary school, you're learning about it and about how to talk about it in a way that is honest, but not inflammatory. This is what intelligent design is about. We want to talk about it in a way that is honest, but not inflammatory, not provocative. So somebody has to design a curriculum, a narrative that allows young Nigerians to interrogate their past so that they can begin to move forward and so that Northerners and Southerners can start having more open minds towards each other. Because remember, because of the way the January 15 coup went, there is a feeling among certain sections of the North that Igbos can't be trusted. You know, that they can rise up in the night and kill you. There's still that sense. And that's why even me as an Igbo person, I can be walking around preaching one Nigeria, and you're still looking at me like, I know you are up to something. I know you have an agenda. A lot of that lingering attitude is coming from history. It's not coming from me or anything I'm doing.
Do you for a moment think in your mind that, because this is very popular, and I do also sometimes get frustrated when I think this is what is happening with the Igbo race as a political group, that the Igbo man is prostitutional in his political activity. And forgive that narrative. But if you look at historically, the Igbo man will likely take whatever and just forget and just say, look, give me and let me move forward. And like our brothers in the North who will, whom a lot of people think that they come together a lot. They organize better. In fact, better than the Southwesterner. There are a lot of people believe that Yorubas are a bit more organized politically speaking. Although there are also issues. A Yoruba president will be more criticized by the Yoruba man. But you have a tendency that a northern president will have a quieter reign when he's in office because his fellow northerners will. But that you will see a lot, the Igbo man will be attacked, pulled down by his fellow Igbo people. That oneness politically is not there. And that is the reason why today we have not been able to have unison, singing from the same hymn book, from the Igbo people to have a common front. Do you see that problem? Is that narrative, is it right politically? Is it what is going on? Do you think those who have portrayed that narrative, is it really what is happening? Do you see that playing out?
No, I see it completely differently. I don't see Igbos as disunited at all. I think it's about our heritages, our political heritages. The Igbo political heritage is a Republican one. We've never been a monarchical system. We've always been a Republican system where people compete and contest. Till today, in my Umunna meeting in the village, it doesn't matter how much older you are than me. If you say something that is, I can get up in the meeting and say, Dede, you're not right. That's our culture. And it has its strengths. Everything has its strengths and its weaknesses. It's also why Igbo society is so vibrant, it's so entrepreneurial, it's so resilient. It's why we survived the war, rebounded from the war, because we are like that. And
why you are found in Taiwan, in China, in India, in
so you can't
you jump on the plane to China. 90% of the people you find there are Igbo people.
What powers Igbo culture is not prostitutional. It is creativity, it's innovation. It is also what powers Pathfinder.
So it's being described negatively. But it has its
positive, and even everybody, whatever your strength is, it has his weak side. And because of this Igbo culture, it is also why when eventually a leader emerges out of the Igbo people, that person is exceptional. Because the person had to really, really win everybody's respect to get there. So when Igbo people produce a leader or a frontliner, that person is always exceptional because of the rigor. Before you can convince Igbo people to listen to you, you must be talking sense. So that's the strength of that culture. Other cultures have their strengths. The northern culture is fairly monarchical. So you have that ease of mass mobilization. Yoruba culture, you also have a large monarchical section, but you also have a republican culture. So you have that mix in the Southwest. So it's about your political heritage and understanding the strength it gives you and the weaknesses it gives you as well. But there's nothing wrong with Igbo culture at all.